So this whole Teddy Zane thing, where he has now apparently blocked me from YouTube, doesn't want to talk about me, doesn't want to mention me. Okay, let me just give you my opinion on that. I feel it's very weak. I feel it's a sign of weakness. I feel it's almost like being a coward. Teddy comes across like he's a Republican, and Republicans. I'm just telling you. Look, I'm not trying to get political, but you're supposed to be a patriot, right? You're supposed to be someone who's a strong believer in freedom of speech, correct? I mean, that should be for anyone, not just a Republican. And I should have just isolated it, but I'm just trying to make a point that, you know, he goes around, he always talks about he's a Trump supporter. He always talks about, and look at like what Trump deals with. I mean, Teddy Zane, the FBI just raided our former United States president's home in West Palm Beach, Mar-a-Lago, the famous mansion. You're talking about someone dealing with tremendous, constant, whatever you want to call it. Whether you want to call it, harassment, whether you want to call it, something worse. The point is that he deals with it. And you got to learn to deal with it too. You got to learn, if you want to be a public figure, if you want to be in the public eye, sometimes you're going to do things where people are going to disagree with it. And that's what makes America great. You know what I mean? Because we have that right. We have the freedom of speech to say, I disagree with what you're doing. Now, here's the thing. It's very important, though, that a person has to know their place in this world and in our country. I am not a lawyer. Okay. And I never tried to make myself look like I was a lawyer. I'm not a judge. I don't work for the Securities and Exchange Commission. I am not involved in legally judging anyone, including Teddy Zane. Okay. Because I'm an entertainer. So for me to come out and say that Teddy, charging $5 a month on YouTube, where he's going to provide, I guess, other, investors, whatever, retail investors with the future IPOs that could have potential huge gains. The problem is that it could be interpreted. It could be interpreted allegedly as being compensated for financial advice. That's all I'm saying. But I have to use the word allegedly because I am not the law. You understand? I don't make these decisions. This would have to be something that the SEC or some sort of regulatory agency that handles these legal matters would have to decide. A judge, a jury of his peers. I am not the law. So that's why it's very important to use the word. You have to say it's allegedly, because I am not a lawyer. Okay. But just being a person that has basic common sense and logic, in my opinion, when you're charging someone $5 a month in exchange, right? In exchange for getting a stock, like he's going to provide them with a stock that has a potential of great growth and financial gain, doesn't seem right to me, right? But like again, I have to say it's allegedly. I can't say it's definite that this would constitute as financial advice and compensation for financial advice, but it certainly doesn't look so great. So instead of Teddy Zane maybe discussing it with me, right? What does he do? He takes the coward approach. Which is he blocks me. And you know what? Normally people who do that, they kind of know it inside. Something's not right. They're not doing something right, right? I mean, because they don't want to face the person. You know what I mean? I would have no problem debating him on this issue. I would debate him on it. You know what I mean? But he wants to take the coward approach. I mean, you shouldn't really call yourself a Republican, man. You really should have called yourself a patriot. Because listen, man, it's the same thing with like Al from Boston. He shuts off the comments on his channel. You're not allowing us to have freedom of speech. Look, I never ever I let everyone comment on my channels unless YouTube steps in. Sometimes YouTube, without my consent, will deem a video made for kids. This has happened in the past. And they automatically will shut off the comments on my videos. I have no control over that. That's done by Google. That's done by YouTube. But if YouTube is not deeming a video made for kids, believe me, I let everyone comment. And I've had a lot of people tell me over the course of the whole year I've had the Apefather channel. Many people were like, Apefather, let me be a moderator. You know, Apefather, why don't you block certain people? Why don't you, because I'm a firm believer in the First Amendment. I'm a firm believer in freedom of speech. And you have the right to say anything you want to be. You have the right. But the thing is, you have to keep it real. That's all I ask. Like you had cases where people called me like that guy, what was his name? Top Ticker Trades. Remember that time he said I was a pedophile? You can't just come out and say things like that. You can't. You got to have evidence. You know what I mean? Like, it's crazy. It's crazy. I'm a father of two beautiful children. I love my family more than anything on this earth, and to say something so disgusting like that without having any evidence, that's the problem. You can't just come out and call somebody something. That's why I say alleged or allegedly, because if you don't have proof, if you don't have evidence to back something up, you have to watch what you say. Okay, so I at least have that much respect. But there are people on YouTube, they have no respect. No respect at all. They just say whatever they want, with no facts and no evidence to back it up. And now that's taking the First Amendment too far. Because then that's where you're starting to get into slander. But you have the right to have an opinion. You have the right. We all have that right. And we all have that right to voice our opinions. But we have to say certain words where we don't have evidence, such as allegedly, whatever the case may be, because we have to just protect ourselves legally. But at the same time, we have the right to say whatever we want. That's America. Okay, Teddy? That's America. You don't like it, maybe consider going to China or something. I don't know what to tell you, man. That's America.